Good morning, guys. Hope you're all having a fantastic day wherever you are watching from. So it is bright and early out. My friend messaged me last night and asked if I wanted to come over and process tenderloins with her this morning. So that is where I am headed. I have my vacuum sealer. I got a bunch of extra eggs for us, and I am going to go over and help her get all of these tenderloins processed. And then in return, she is going to give me some breaded tenderloins to take home. So that's first on my list this morning. Like I said, it's really early. We wanted to get it done because she has a lot to do. So I am going to go over there and help her. And then my husband is going to meet me at my garden with my panels. So we are going to start getting all of the trellising set up at my garden for next spring. Now, it's a little bit early to be doing that, but we are in the process of taking down my garden at our current house, and that's just going to be in the middle of full-blown house stuff. So I kind of just want to go ahead and get it done so that I don't have to worry about it later. So that is also on the agenda, and I don't know what else we'll find to do for the weekend, but obviously I'm going to take you guys along. So saddle up. It's going to be busy per usual, and there will be plenty of things for you guys to see and tag along with. I have Mr. Opie with me. Opie, can you say hi? He he was not happy to get up this early. My dog is not a morning dog, but he's with me also, so he's going to be tagging along. So anyway, let's go get some tenderloins made.
Okay, guys, so I made it to my friend's house and I have never processed tenderloins in bulk. So she was just giving me a rundown of exactly how we're going to do this. And I don't know why I've never thought to do this, but from here on out, this is going to be a project that I take on either with her or by myself in the future because this is just such a great way to utilize a big loin like this and then have plenty of tenderloins in your freezer for parties and get-togethers or whatever you would like them for. So we are just trimming off all of the fat, and you'll see my friend is way faster at this than I am. She gets 2 done to my 1, but that's okay, I'm learning. So getting all of this trimmed up, and then we are also gonna be saving those scrap pieces that I'm putting to the side to do something with, and I will show you what I plan to do with all of that, so don't worry, we are definitely not letting any of this go to waste. So, like I said, I'm just getting all of this prepped up and then I'm gonna start cutting these. Now, I was under the impression that we would be tenderizing these by hand, but she has a really cool machine, which I will show you in just a bit. So, depending on what you are using to tenderize these is going to determine how thick you are probably going to want to cut these. So, since we were running them through her tenderizer machine, she said to cut them at about an inch thick, and that was the perfect thickness for us. But if you are pounding them down by hand, you may need to make them thicker or a little bit thinner. It just kind of depends what your preference is. There's no right or wrong way to do this necessarily, just accommodate it to whatever outcome you are going for. So I'm just getting all of these cut down. And then once they are cut down, we are going to start tenderizing them and I will show you the process for that. Okay, so here is us tenderizing these, and don't those look absolutely perfect? They turned out like store quality. And this machine is ancient. They have tons of different processing equipment in their shop because my friend and her family, they process a lot of beef and deer and just anything and everything you could possibly think of. So they really have the ideal setup for doing big batches of meats and things like this. So this is the tenderizer machine that they have, and it's just really cool. It's very fast, very efficient. And I am actually going to be looking into getting a meat tenderizer machine similar to this myself, just for future projects, not just tenderloins, but other things that I may want to do. So this is her just finishing all of these up. And then once they are tenderized, we will move on to the breading and cracker crumb portion of this. Okay, so then we just grabbed a bunch of big bowls and filled two of them up with the cracker crumbs. And then the bowl in the middle is an egg wash base. I believe she said it has eggs, a little bit of milk, buttermilk, some seasonings, and just anything else that she wanted to throw in there. So we are really fortunate. We have an Amish store not too far away from us, actually, where we can buy big breadings in bulk. So my friend really, really utilizes that store for like all of her fish breading, all of her tenderloin breading. So it came in really handy. We had a lot of it in bulk to use on this day. So we are just getting these through the egg wash first and then breading them for the second process. And then she recommended to stack them in portions that we would be freezing them in. So I'm stacking mine in four because I'm going to be using freezer bags. And then I believe she's stacking hers in fours and eights for just some different occasions and things like that. She ends up putting paper in between her tenderloins and then wrapping them in freezer paper. And there's no right or wrong way to store these, you guys. You can store them however you would like. I just decided to go ahead and vacuum seal them because I happen to have a vacuum sealer. So that is what I decided to use. But if you don't have a vacuum sealer, no problem. Ziploc bag, parchment paper, and some freezer bag wrap will do just fine. Okay, so here I am just prepping all of these to be vacuum sealed, and I'm just basically taking some plastic paper and stacking these in fours. And every single time that you do it, you want to make sure that there is paper in between them so that whenever you freeze them, they don't stick together and it makes them just easier to pull apart and de-thaw to be used later. So I'm just getting all of my piles ready and then making sure that they're wrapped up really good. Now, like I said, you could wrap them in parchment paper if you wanted to before you vacuum sealed them. Totally preference on this, and just really depends on how long you would like to store them. So I'm just getting all of these prepped, and then I brought my vacuum sealer. I love this vacuum sealer, you guys. I will link it down below for you. This was actually a Christmas gift from my husband, and I have used it very heavily since. So I'm just getting all of these stored up. And I believe I ended up with 9 bags of 4, so it worked out really, really good for us on this day. So after my friend and I got done with making the tenderloins, I met my husband over here at my new garden. He loaded up all of the trellising and the posts from my old garden and got them brought over for me so that we could start putting all of this up. And if you're new and watching this, I have worked in construction for 9 years. My husband has worked in construction for many years as well. We are in the process of building our new home. So, a lot of our time here very, very soon is going to be dedicated to finishing the inside of our house. So, we are just trying to get some of these projects that we know that we could get to right now finished and out of the way so that we don't have to do them later. So there's something incredibly cute that's about to take place. I was reviewing this and noticed my daughter picking up my little dog and just carting him off. Opie is literally the baby of the family, and she treats him as such as well. So that part was really, really cute. I thought you guys would enjoy it. But so my father in law came over here and actually ended up helping us on this day, which was really nice. Our in laws live literally right down the road. So we are building our house on my husband's family farm, which is very convenient and exciting. So every single time that we're over here, there is always help and extra hands. So, Lonnie, if you're watching this, thank you so much for your help on this day. I really appreciate it. So, we are just getting all of the trellising set up. So, my garden is a 60 by 40 garden. There are 18 3 by 16 rows. So, on this side, all of the first 6 rows will have trellising. I think that this is probably going to be the main area for my tomatoes and tomatillos and just that sort of thing. But I'm also going to do trellising on the other side as well. So, on this day in particular, we did not have enough trellising to finish it all. We are just utilizing what I already had at my old garden first and then moving on and making purchases thereafter. But we did end up getting 4 of the rows completed, and then we just have to get some extra panels and posts to do the rest of them. But so far, this portion is done, and I am so incredibly excited, you guys. Just one more thing is checked off of the list. So then I also just wanted to go ahead and give a brief house update. The porches now have gravel in them, so those will be poured with concrete here very soon. And then they got the garage flooring done and poured with concrete as well. So I just wanted to give you guys a brief update on that. And then I wanted to take you guys over on the other side of the property. Now this is directly behind our house and it's about to be fall. I can feel it in the air and I just can't help but think how awesome of a sledding hill this is going to be come winter time. My daughter is super excited. So here's the view. It's beautiful and then I just wanted to flip you guys around so you guys could see where this is located from the house and from the property. So it is officially the next day, and Sunday is kind of my reset day. So we're going to be doing a lot of things. Here's some chicken for meal prep. I also did sweet potatoes. Now, I'm not going to take you through the whole process because it is the same as last week. Like I said, we're very simple. But something new that we are going to do today is we are going to utilize all of those tenderloin scraps. So my friend gave me these because she herself did not want to get her meat processor dirty, which I don't blame her. And I have a smaller meat grinder than she did. So I was like, okay, I'll just take these and I'll put them through my meat grinder. Well, then I was thinking about it and I'm like, that's kind of a lot to get dirty, also. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put this in my food processor and see how it does because I've seen a lot of people make like homemade chicken tenders and that sort of thing, just using their food processor and just grinding the meat that way. So, this is what I did on this day, and it worked out fantastic, you guys. A little bit messy of a cleanup, but I am totally not complaining. The outcome was really, really good, and we ended up utilizing these scraps and not letting them go to waste. So I just ran this through my food processor on high for, I don't know, I would say maybe 2 to 3 minutes, grinded it down as best I could, and then I am just transferring it to a bowl to be transferred into Ziploc bags. Now, you can season this however you would like. You could do like an Italian style sausage. My friend said that sage sausage was also really good, but I didn't have sage on this particular day. Otherwise, I probably would have taken her up on that and added some. So I'm just leaving this plain so that I can flavor it how I would like to later. But if you would like to add the seasoning to it as you are grinding it, go for it. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. It is just totally your preference. So I ended up doing this 3 times, so I had enough scraps to run this through the food processor 3 times, and we got a big, big bowl filled with sausage, which is awesome. So I'm just getting this out and getting it prepared to be stored in Ziploc bags. So this is kind of messy, you guys, but if you fold the Ziploc bag over and kind of use it as like you would to fill, like, piping, like, frostings and things like that, it works out pretty good. So I just use the outside of the bag to kind of scrape it off of my spatula, and then the thing about sausage is it's very, very thick, so you really have to go back and get the air out of the bags as best as you can. It will develop pockets in the bottom of it because the substance is so thick, so make sure you really work it around and push as much air as you can get out of it as you can. So again, I'm just going back and filling all of these bags up. And we end up getting 4 bags filled with sausage, which is really nice because we're able to recycle scraps that would have just been thrown away or tossed. And this is just another way that we are able to utilize the product. Now, I'm assuming this will cook up fine. There were a couple spots that were a little bit thicker, but I thought, you know what, as it cooks, we can break it down and kind of mince it down to that ground consistency that we're looking for. So I will let you guys know exactly how this cooks up, but if it cooks up okay, using the food processor just for little bits and things like this will definitely be a way that I do smaller batches of meats and things like that in the future. So I'm just getting all of this labeled up, and then we will be putting this in the freezer for later use. So, after I got my kitchen tidied back up from all of the sausage mess, our meal prep is ready to be put up in containers. Now, I have a previous video on my channel if you would like an in depth look at how I meal prep. It's not very exciting. Like I said, we're pretty simple around here. If I am doing rice, it's usually chicken and some sort of vegetable side or a sandwich. Like I said in my previous video, I've tried to get really fancy with meal prep, you guys. It just doesn't work out very good for us. Simple is better, in my opinion, and it's always super delicious. So, after I got all the meal prep done, I'm kind of just taking a moment to go back through all of the groceries that I bought. I'm getting some of the produce washed off. So, I'm starting off with grapes. I always go back and wash my grapes out really good, and then I store them in this bowl with a wet paper towel on top, and that is how I have found that it keeps them fresh the longest. And then I also have this container that has little dividers in it. I will try to find something similar on Amazon and link it down below for you, but it is awesome. So I pick out three vegetables or fruits or whatever we have on hand each week, and I store them in these containers. So this is just a really good way for us to have fresh vegetables or fresh fruit that's, prepped and ready to go for, little snacks and things like that each week. And then I also just put a wet paper towel over the cucumbers. I find that it keeps them fresh longer in the refrigerator. So then I am also going ahead and doing some carrots. Now you can deskin these if you would like. I just have found that if I keep the peels on, they last a little bit longer in the refrigerator. So I am just chopping them up. These are from the garden. So I'm getting them cut up into littler slices so that we can use them to dip in dips and things like that. And it's a little bit easier for my daughter to get in there and grab one out, and then I just get her a little bit of a side or whatever to go with it. So then I also got the broccoli rinsed off, and I am chopping this up as well. So there will be cucumbers, carrots, and broccoli in the refrigerator, fresh for us to grab throughout the week. And then I'm also wrapping the carrots in a wet paper towel as well. Helps them keep fresher, and it just works out really good. So there's all that done. And then as I was getting in my crisper drawer, I noticed that there were two peppers in there that really needed to be used up. So I am going to go ahead and dice these up and get them in my dehydrator. So if you have watched previous videos, I went from an American Harvest round dehydrator that was kind of a pain in the butt to use to this new dehydrator. I believe you pronounce it as like as Circer is the brand. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I will link it down in the description, you guys. I've had it for the past 4 weeks now, and I love it. It comes with 12 trays, and it's just an all around really good dehydrator. So I will definitely link that down below for you guys if you are also looking for a affordable, good quality dehydrator. But I am just getting all of these chopped up and put on one of the trays to be put in the dehydrator to be working for us throughout the day. So I'm just getting that set, and those are done. So then I also had some basil that I dehydrated the other day that needed to be gotten off the trays and put in the jar. Now, you guys, I'm really proud of myself. I have grown all of my own basil this year and plenty of it. I believe I am up to 4 of these pint jars filled with homegrown, home dehydrated basil. And I'm done with basil. I don't have any more. All of my basil out there has went to seed, so I'm just saving seeds from them, but I'm super proud of myself on that. So next, we are going to be working on some banana bread, and I'm going to make it 3 different ways for you guys. Now, my daughter is a banana bread fiend, and the recipe book in the back is one that I found on Amazon that I absolutely love. It's totally customizable, and you can write down recipes. So it saves me from having to get on my phone constantly, which I really love. So for this particular banana bread recipe, we are going to use 2 to 3 ripe bananas. Now, mine were smaller, so I am using 4 smaller bananas. And don't worry about listening to what I say with the ingredients and having to remember it. I will write all of it down for you. So, after you get your bananas mashed, go ahead and melt 1/3 cup of butter and get that combined in with your bananas and mix them up really, really well. And then, after you get all of that combined, you are going to need half a teaspoon of baking soda. And then go ahead and get that combined in as well. Add some salt. Then you are gonna add 1 cup of sugar. Now, I like mine a little bit sweeter, so I went ahead and added another half, so 1.5 cups of sugar for me. And then you are gonna need 1 egg and a splash of vanilla. So then you're gonna mix all of that up really, really well. And then we are gonna put in 1.5 cups of flour, and then you are gonna combine all of that together. Okay, so you guys, so I found these little pans at Goodwill, and I thought that these would be an awesome addition to my kitchen for things like this. So I am going to be doing chocolate chip banana bread, walnut banana bread, and then just regular banana bread. Now, some people say that like the walnuts in your banana bread is the regular banana bread method, but I don't personally add nuts into the banana bread. So I'm going to be doing this 3 different ways. So the first one was the chocolate chips, and I just put them in, mix them in the batter. The next one I'm adding walnuts to again, and I'm just mixing them right in the bread pan. And then that one is done. And then this one is just going to be the plain banana bread. So if you didn't want to add any of the extras, just stop where we finished all of the batter together. And that is just your base component. But you're gonna bake these at 350 for, I don't know, these smaller ones took about 20 to 25 minutes, and then the larger one took about 30 to 40 minutes. But don't those look fantastic, you guys? They turned out so, so good. Okay, so next, I just wanted to come out to my garden and show you guys around really quick while I did some watering. This zucchini plant is finally putting on zucchinis, and I planted it ages ago. So maybe we'll be able to harvest a zucchini together before the frost hits, maybe not, I don't know. But in these 2 bags, I planted some carrots and radishes the other day, so I'm just getting them watered in. I have an itch to plant things, you guys, I'm not gonna lie. It's very difficult for me to just take this garden down. So I'm still planting things here and there in some of my grow bags that I have up. So here's just some basil that I have let go to seed, like I was mentioning earlier. And hopefully we will be able to collect all of these basil seeds together so that we can save them for next season. So then I just have some oregano down in this pot that I'm getting a good drink. And then over here to the left of it are some chives that are still trucking along that I've been harvesting from. I also have some yellow carrots in this bag that are growing. And then I also have some little finger carrots here that are also growing. So hopefully we can harvest some more carrots together as well. And then this is just another beautiful bag of all the basil. Now, this Genovese basil has not went to seed yet, but I'm just going to allow it to go to seed because Genovese basil is my favorite. So I'm just going to let it produce seed and hopefully we can save them. And then here is my overachieving habanero plant that I'm giving a drink. I'm not a huge fan of spice, you guys. My husband is, but I genuinely did not think that that habanero plant would produce as much habaneros as it has. So then I just have one Roma tomato plant left and sun gold cherry tomatoes and super sweet 100 cherry tomatoes. So I'm getting all of these a drink. This Roma tomato plant I thought was gonna be a goner, but it's still trucking along, and I don't have the heart to tear it down right now. So I'm getting it some water as well, and there's a beautiful Roma. And then over here, my dogs ate my bean plant, but I noticed that there were a couple of pods left on the beans. So I was like, well, let's just open them and see what we get. And to my surprise, they were dried out and I can use these for next year. So I'm just showing you guys this little itty bitty harvest that I got from my dogs eating them. But they saved the seeds on this one, so that's awesome. We'll have some stuff to plant for next season. So I thought I would end this video off with you guys showing you how I ended up making these tenderloins. And oh my goodness, you guys, they turned out so incredibly amazing. Like I said in the beginning, I am definitely going to be prepping and making a bunch of these in the future with you all again. So I'm just getting some onions chopped up as a side. Now, we did not have pickles to go with this. Usually I would do like onions, pickles, ketchup, mustard. So I just ended up using some pickled peppercini peppers that I grew myself this year. I make a bunch of those every single year pickled to use in Mississippi pot roast. That's one of our favorite things to throw them on. But they were so incredibly good on the tenderloins. So it was a really good substitute for not having pickles. I don't know how I don't have sliced pickles. That is also another big canning project that we will have to do together. So after the tenderloins were done, I started making my husband's sandwich. Now, he had worked an 11-hour day. Usually, I would go through the process of toasting the bun and doing all the necessities for him, but he was so hungry. He was like, "Nope, just throw it on there for me and I will eat it as is." So I'm just getting all of his toppings loaded on there, onions, the pickled peppers, ketchup, mustard, and then we ate this with cottage cheese. And then my husband made a Mexican like salsa dip that he's really been liking. Maybe I'll have to share that with you guys because it is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm just getting his sandwich loaded up, and then this is the finished product. And like I said, they turned out so good. My daughter loved them as well, and I also really enjoyed them. So I just wanted to say thanks so much, you guys, for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new. Continue to look out for future videos, and I will see you in the next upload.